What's up, guys? It's Chris here to give my UFC 112 predictions. Going down this Saturday in Abu Dhabi. Very interesting and intriguing event in the fact that it's being held in Abu Dhabi. Aside from the time change, which the fighters always have to deal with when they fight overseas, you've got the fact that it's being held in an open-air stadium. So, temperature-wise, I believe it's going to be in the 80s, mid-80s. I heard it's kind of a dry heat over there. So, aside from the fact that the fighters are probably going to be sweating a lot more, you're probably not going to see a lot of submissions unless they're early. It's going to be interesting to see how the fighters' conditioning and cardio holds up under, fighting outside. I mean, imagine it's going to feel a lot different than fighting inside an air-conditioned stadium. So, very, very, very intriguing to see how that factors into some of these fights, particularly any of the fights that go into the later rounds. That being said, real quick, going to touch up the undercard. I'm going to go with John Madsen by decision over Mustafa Al-Turk. I'm going to go with Matt Veach by decision over Paul Kelly. DeMarcus Johnson by TK over Brad Blackburn. Rick Story by decision over Nick Sipchak. John Gunderson by decision over Paul Taylor. And what probably will be one of the more entertaining fights. Hopefully we'll get to see it. Paul Taylor's usually in pretty entertaining scraps. He usually gets a fight of the night bonuses. So hopefully we'll get a chance to see that if there's time permitted. But as entertaining as Paul Taylor is, he doesn't seem to have too many wins in the UFC, so that's why I'm favoring Gunderson there. And Phil Davis by decision over Alexander Gustafsson. Televised portion of the card. First fight, you got Mark Munoz against Kendall Grove. Kendall looked good in submitting Jake Rosholt, a fighter that Munoz is somewhat similar to, primarily a wrestler, a collegiate wrestler. Munoz is getting a little bit better on the feet. He's looked better since moving down to middleweight. Kendall, very up and down career. He seems to have a good performance followed by a bad performance. Bad performance followed by a good performance. You never know what you're going to get from Kendall. I do think Kendall's got better technique on the feet. Obviously Kendall Grove doesn't have the strongest chin. Mark Munoz isn't this dynamic striker by any means, though. Kendall doesn't have the best takedown defense, so I think Munoz will be able to take him down at will if he wants to. Mark Munoz has been training with Blackhouse and Nogueira brothers, so I'm sure he's shored up his submission defense. So although Kendall does have pretty good jiu-jitsu, I think Munoz will be relatively safe on the ground. If it plays out on the feet, I'd favor Grove a little bit, even though he doesn't have the best chin as I stated. But I think Munoz will probably just take Kendall Grove down and work him over there with some ground and pound, probably en route to a decision. So unless Kendall catches them with the submission like he did Jake Rosholt, I see Mark Munoz winning this by decision. Next up, we got Terry Edom against Rafael Dos Anjos. Favorite Terry Edom here, big time. Dos Anjos, he's got good jiu-jitsu, but it seems like most of his fights play out on the feet. There I think Edom has a huge advantage. Edom's a guy the UFC I think is looking forward to as one of the futures of the lightweight division. Dos Anjos probably doesn't have the edge on the ground, but Edom's showing pretty good scrambling skills to be able to escape submission. So even if he does get on the ground, I think he can get away from stuff and get back to his feet and just continue to take over from there. So and Dos Anjos, his stand-up's is pretty sloppy in my opinion. He's got a lot of holes there, so I think Terry Edom's going to win this fight by TKO. Matt Hughes against Renzo Gracie. I think Renzo Gracie's more so being brought in because he has a relationship with the guys, the Abu Dhabi guys that purchased 10% stake in the UFC, which is why this event's being held over there. I think he's 43 years old now. Renzo Gracie, not one of my favorite fighters, but one of my favorite personalities in the sport. Always gives entertaining interviews, just very likable guy. Matt Hughes, opposite end of the spectrum with myself personally. But I got to favor him in this fight big time. Could see it playing out similar to Matt Hughes' fight against Royce Gracie actually a few years ago. Although I don't think Matt Hughes is going to be able to submit Renzo. Granted, he didn't submit Royce either. Renzo's not going to submit, much like Royce wouldn't tap out. But I think on the feet, Hughes may have a slight advantage. Neither of these guys are dynamic strikers. I think Matt will just probably take Renzo down and pretty much ground and pound out to a decision. I don't think Renzo's going to submit Hughes. Hughes has showed great submission defense in the past. Only times he's really been submitted is when he was hurt on the feet or hurt on the ground and then caught in a submission. I don't think that's going to happen here. So I see Matt Hughes winning this fight by a decision. Probably not the most entertaining fight. Co-main event of the night, we got BJ Penn defending his lightweight title against Frank the Answer Edgar. Pretty easy fight to call in my opinion. Frankie Edgar's looked better lately. particularly in the fight against Sean Shirk, but he didn't look as good against Sean Shirk as BJ Penn did. BJ Penn has just looked unstoppable and rejuvenated at 155. Just absolutely destroyed Diego Sanchez. I think this fight will be more competitive than that fight was, but I do still see a relatively one-sided fight in favor of BJ Penn. Edgar has improved his striking, but I still think BJ Penn's got some of the best hands in the UFC boxing-wise. Edgar's got better wrestling, but BJ Penn has great takedown defense. And even when you get him down, doesn't mean you're going to have much success there. Only George St. Pierre actually really has had a lot of success putting BJ on his back and controlling him there. One thing Edgar can do is use leg kicks if he chooses to. BJ Penn doesn't really defend leg kicks very well, but that's not exactly Frankie Edgar's strong suit, so I don't know. I just really can't picture Frankie Edgar having much of an advantage or anywhere in the fight. I don't know. If it stays on the feet, I think BJ will get the better of it. And if Frankie manages to get BJ down, I just don't think he's going to do much with him there. I think BJ's going to get the better of it on the feet, and I think he's going to wear him down and either knock Edgar out somewhere along the line or hurt him and catch him and submit him on the ground, something like he did with Kenny in the Kenny Florian fight. So either way, I see BJ Penn winning another fight by dominant fashion, and if so, I guess possibly moving back up to welterweight, something he's mentioned. So BJ Penn by technical knockout or submission. On to the main event, we got Anderson Silva defending his title against Demian Maia. Maia replacing Vitor Belfort, who was originally scheduled to face Anderson, but unfortunately got a shoulder injury. I was actually looking forward to that fight. Maia, he was more of a threat before he got knocked out by Nathan Marquardt. After that, don't get me wrong, obviously if Demian Maia can get Anderson Silva down on the ground, he has a very good chance of winning this fight by submitting Anderson Silva, but I don't know if I see that happening. Actually, I don't see it happening. It could happen, but I don't picture it happening. Anderson Silva, huge advantage on the feet. It goes without saying. Maia, his takedowns, he's not like a real good wrestler or anything. He just usually shoots a single leg or pulls guard and stuff. But I think Anderson Silva is much more fleet on the feet and just a much better athlete, much more elusive. I don't think Maia's going to have much luck getting to him. I just pray, well, I don't pray, but I hope that this fight doesn't turn out like Anderson Silva's fight against Talis Leites. Nobody wants to see a replay of that fight. So hopefully it doesn't turn out like that, but I don't think it will. I think after Anderson saw what Marquardt did to Maia, although it didn't take very long to do it, I think he figures he could do the same, if not as quick. I think he could, get the same result. Knock Maia out relatively easily on the feet. I think that's what's going to happen here. I don't think Anderson's going to blitzkrieg him right away, but I do think he's going to work him over on the feet and get either a stoppage late in the first round or early second. So looking forward to this event, though. Like I said, really looking forward to just them fighting in a different country, fighting in an outdoors arena, how the weather affects the fighters. Just curious to see how it's going to play out. I know the event's playing live on pay-per-view at 9 a.m. in the morning on Saturday. I'm probably not going to watch it till later in the evening like usual on pay-per-view on the replay because I don't think the people I watch it with want to get up at 9 in the morning to watch it on Saturday, and I know I really don't want to get up at 9 in the morning to watch fights on Saturday morning, so I don't know. Maybe I'll be back later that night to give my thoughts afterwards whenever I watch it. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to stay off the internet and off Twitter and everything else. Not really that big of a deal, but definitely don't want to get any spoiler results ahead of time. So I'll probably be back Saturday night, if not Sunday, to give my thoughts afterwards. Be sure and check out the website, so WillBeBloodFightShow.com, LeaveItInTheRing.com, and my Twitter if you're interested. Links in the information part as always. And, don't forget to check out Bellator. I believe it's debuting on Thursday night on Fox Sports Net. Looking forward to that as well. Not going to make a video, but I am looking forward to that event. That's pretty much it for now, guys. Love to hear your thoughts on these fights, what you guys think is going to go down. Till next time, I'm out of here. Later.